Which wall is the best wall? That answer is coming up on Shrek Daily, your Shrek news source.
The following program is rated A for adolescent. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, welcome to A Waste of Time, Maine's adolescent TV program, written and produced by people in the grip of puberty. I'm Wyatt, and on this program, we'll be talking about walls of history. Our president has placed us in a state of emergency because he wants to build a wall between the U.S. and Mexico. But today, we'll be taking a look at all the walls that other countries have built before, seeing how they fared, and we'll be doing all of that with our help from our very own Professor Incredulous from the University of Adolescents. But first, we take a look at the adolescent train of thought. Check this out. And now, as a public service announcement, The Waste of Time presents the adolescent brain. Answers to the question most often asked by parents: what were you thinking?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Elijah Saylor, and welcome to the premiere episode of the Adolescent Brain, where we answer the parents' questions that they most often have about their adolescence. What were you thinking? With me today is Wyatt, and we are going to be discussing the war, which has been raging over your head, which you may not have even realized. It's been going on for multiple months now. We are, of course, talking about the war of PewDiePie versus T-Series. Wyatt, who is PewDiePie?
Now, if you did not know, PewDiePie is a very popular star he's a 27-year-old Swedish man by the name of Felix Kjellberg, and he is extremely popular on the video streaming site YouTube. He has around 90 million subscribers who tune in and watch his videos every single day. And he's been the most popular YouTuber there for years. And now there's an Indian media company named T-Series who is threatening to dethrone PewDiePie as top of the YouTube channels.
Yes.
As the king of YouTube.
T-Series is based in, where is it? I think they're based in Mumbai.
I'm not positive.
But yes, anyway.
Yes.
They were founded around 1990, and they're an Indian record production channel, and they have been having incredible growth, like the fastest any channel has ever grown, like ever. And they are threatening to overthrow PewDiePie's spot on number one. Mm-hmm. And so PewDiePie, in response, has released a diss track, which you will hear at the end of the show. And the reason, I actually learned this through the fabulous source of the internet, but the main reason why T-Series has been growing so rapidly through YouTube is because of the internet company Gio,
yes.
It's J-I-O.
Yes. And it's a very cheap source of internet for a lot of Indians. And most Indians, before this company was founded, they couldn't get internet because it was far too expensive for them. But this internet is extremely cheap, and it's expanded internet all across India, which has, in turn, helped T-Series just grow an incredible amount. It's absolutely incredible. I believe last year they were a pretty small channel, and they gained tens of millions of subscribers in just months.
Yes,
it's absolutely
that is
incredible.
Like unprecedented growth, everybody.
Yes.
I'm Trump now. And another thing that is also very strange about T-Series' channel is their videos, the majority of those videos, if you go back to like their videos that are produced like a couple months ago when the war just started, their videos only have they have less than 1 million views each, which is, if you have 90 people who subscribe to your magazine, say you have a magazine which has 900 people that subscribe to it, that's like only 9 of them actually reading the magazine, which is very, very low.
Yeah.
Which is a wee bit suspicious for a company.
I know plenty of YouTube channels who only have 500,000, and a lot of those channels, their videos easily get 1 million views.
Felix's or PewDiePie's amount of views per video is multiple millions per video,
which is fairly small compared to the ridiculous amount of subscribers that he has, but is still.
But if you get a channel that's big, the bigger your channel is, the wider the ratio between
the
views and subscribers.
The less percentage of subs actually watch your videos, because it's just such an incredible amount of subscribers. And the internet has been coming together ever since this happened to keep PewDiePie the #1, and I believe that is because PewDiePie is just one guy. A lot of people on YouTube just really want YouTube to stay the way it is, as in one guy, making a living for himself, staying #1.
Yes, and once PewDiePie or T-Series takes over PewDiePie, they both have 90 million. It's probably not an if.
It's probably not an if.
But for them, it's a race to 100 million subscribers, which is an crazy amount of people. That means 1 in every 74 people on the planet will be subscribed to one of these channels. And so once T-Series takes over PewDiePie, why is that not really a good thing? It won't be bad for YouTube, but it'll most certainly be one more step in the process of becoming a more corporate site and less a community.
Exactly. And we've seen over the past few years, a lot of people have started to really dislike YouTube because of all of their they've been leaning toward companies and not giving to the creators as much. We've seen all this it's known as the adpocalypse, yes, where YouTube was demonetizing, which means they weren't letting ads run on videos. Tons of videos for things like just small things like cursing, and sometimes just for no reason, and weren't letting them make any money at all.
I saw a guy conduct an experiment. He had a video which had a couple of swears in it, and that got demonetized, which means it can run ads, but it runs a lot less. And then when he re-uploaded the video with no cursing and all inappropriate parts were removed, that video got completely demonetized. That means no ads were run on the video at all.
The system is very broken, and I think a lot of people really don't want T-Series to take over because they think it's just another step in making YouTube more corporate and having YouTube lean far more towards companies and large corporations.
Describe the picture.
Oh, yes.
This is not actually PewDiePie, what he looks like today. This is an older kind of image from 2015. And no, PewDiePie is not homosexual.
Yeah, he's just a beautiful man, the one in the pink scarf, if you didn't know. He's not the logo. As you can see,
that's not his
the T-Series logo, the red thing that says T-Series, and the swords are signifying that they're having an epic battle.
Yes, and T-Series has already briefly passed PewDiePie a couple of times at this point, and you may be sitting there at home on your couch wondering, wow, I really wish I could do something about this. And you, dear viewer, you can. What you need to do, pick up your phone or device to access the internet, go on your YouTube account, and if you don't have a YouTube account, create one, it's free, and go to PewDiePie's channel and subscribe to PewDiePie. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. You need to subscribe to PewDiePie to help stop T-Series. Join the 9-year-old army.
Sub to PewDiePie. Sub to PewDiePie. Sub to PewDiePie.
Subscribe to PewDiePie. Subscribe to PewDiePie. And also, one more thing. You must join the ranks of the Bro Army. That's the official name of the 9-year-old army. It's the Bro Army.
But
and
really
ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for this talk about PewDiePie versus T-Series. And we will leave you with this. Well, thank you for watching the first ever episode of the Adolescent Brain. And remember, subscribe to PewDiePie.
This has been a public service announcement from the producers of A Waste of Time. Thank you for watching.
Laugh with me, buddy, just with me, buddy. Don't let her get the best of me, buddy. Don't ever let me start feeling lonely. If I ever needed you, buddy, you know now I really do, buddy. Don't ever let me start feeling.
Action.
Hi, I'm Rosie, and welcome back to A Waste of Time. I'm here today with Dr. I Am Incredulous to take a better look at history. Now, the U.S. President Donald Trump has recently declared a state of emergency to get border wall funding for a big wall all across Mexico's border. Now, with us to compare this new barrier of education, I am incredulous from Mr. Know-It-All Adolescent Civilization.
Yes, that is it.
So, do you think this wall will work, or why not?
Well, you see, I don't actually think that the wall is going to work that well, because I've compared it to past walls in history, and I've compared it to two walls that I think everybody will remember, and I believe that this wall will not go down well. So first, let's start out with the first wall I think everybody knows. That is the Great Wall of China. The wall was built by Emperor Qin Shi Huang. It took 2,000 years to build, and it was paid through taxes, and they had to do some very serious, very extreme measures to pay for the wall, to the fact where they even tax salt. So that's pretty much, let's say you get French fries at McDonald's, you'd probably have to pay an extra 25 cents just for the pound of salt that they put into the fries. It took over 2,000 years to build, which is actually quite a prolonged time. It started around the 7th century BC. So for those of you who don't know your timeline, that's 7 years before the supposed birth of Christ.
But why did they build the wall?
They built it to keep out the Mongols, who were kind of raiding through the area like that. They were pretty much like barbarians. They were kind of like Vikings of kind of East Asia. Like, you know, you had the Vikings in Europe that went through Denmark and...
Who exactly were they? Like, why did they want to keep the Mongols out?
Because they were pretty much Vikings, and they don't want Vikings, and they pretty much... It's pretty much saying... Oh, I'm not going to use that metaphor. It's pretty much what Donald Trump says. The Mexicans are going to come and take our pick our oranges when those can be for jobs, but they would pretty much kill everybody. So...
what would you rate this wall?
I'd rate the wall 4 out of 5.
Why would you rate it 4 out of 5?
I rated that because although it did its job very well, there were some instances when people came over the wall. There was like a famous example where they just went right to the thing and went right into Shanghai. And also, it was very expensive and it took forever to build.
What were some of the casualties of building this wall?
A total of 1 million workers died in the process, and people believe that they actually buried people in the wall. So some people think that the wall is actually a giant cemetery with 1 million bodies in it. The next wall I'm going to talk about is the Berlin Wall, and that was from 1961 to 1992. And that was built by Stalin. That was built to pretty much keep West Germany from East Germany, because after World War II, the Soviets, like let's say that this is Germany, and they pretty much met right here. So this would be East Berlin, and this would be West Germany. Excuse me for that. And Berlin was here, so it's pretty much let's say that this is Berlin. They pretty much built a wall through it, so that way people from the communist side couldn't go into East Germany.
Who were the communist people? Like, why did they want to keep them out?
The communists were the USSR, which was, I won't say at its height, although it did reach a lot of fullness at the time. And the wall, it wasn't like a wall that went up overnight. Well, it did go up overnight, but as you see in this picture, that's like 20, 30 years of the wall's existence, and by that time they've been able to build it up. But pretty much when they first started building it, it was pretty much just a giant barbed wire fence with armed guards there that made it was pretty daunting. So it started out with guards, and then over time they built it up to there. The wall came down in 1992 due to the fall of the Soviet Union.
Were there any major bumps in the road with this wall?
Although there wasn't really anything. Like, I think like 30 people were shot trying to cross it, but people really just did not want to mess with the wall. Like, as you can see, that looks pretty daunting. And yeah, the wall worked fairly well. Like, it worked very great. Like, it was kind of like throughout the Cold War, and it's oftentimes seen as
what was the Cold War?
The Cold War was just pretty much political tensions versus the Soviets in America. Like, there was small, well, I shouldn't say smaller, but there was like stuff like Vietnam and Korea that actually had a little bit of fighting, so there was a little bit of fighting related to it, but it's mostly just political tensions got really high, and basically your parents' memory will be them hiding underneath a 2-inch wooden desk to protect a nuclear shockwave. Overall, I'd give this wall the rating of 5 out of 5 because although the wall wasn't really a pretty history, in terms of in the wall world, this was a very successful wall because it kept a lot of people out. It was very successful. I mean, it isn't still standing, although down on Congress Street, there are still slabs of the wall, and the wall was... Okay, sorry about that. The wall worked really well. It did its purpose. It didn't come down until the power holding it came down, so they were able to hold it for the whole time. And yeah, now that was the Berlin Wall. It was divided Berlin into 2 parts. It was from these years. The Soviets built
moving on to the Trump fence. Why would you call it a fence and not a wall? Because,
as you can see here, that is not a wall. Like, if you go to look at the Berlin Wall, the Great Wall, those are like giant, I hate saying this, marvelous structures. But this is just like the stuff that you find in a rail yard, like sides of boxcars just strung up with electric fence. The big issue with that is that Trump doesn't really have any purpose to build it. Like, the Mexicans, they aren't really a threat. They're just kind of there. Like, they're not really a threat.
So why does Trump think that they would hurt us?
Primarily because it's a use of his, it's pretty much like if I say, I'm going to get you a glass of water if you give you $1 and then you give me $1, if I don't give you the glass of water, you're going to get mad at me. So it's essentially, he used that as the election. He didn't think he was going to win, but then suddenly he won, and now he has to pull funding for this, because if not, Sweet Home Alabama is going to get mad.
So, what are his plans for funding this wall?
Funding, originally the Mexicans are going to pay for it, But the Mexican president said, we're not going to build a wall. So I think now the taxpayers are going to have to pay for it. But what's really going to happen is probably not going to be, oh, we're going to raise the tax. It's going to work. I forget where it's at. It's around like $8 billion.
If they were to make the taxpayers go up individually, about how much in a percentage would our taxes go up?
Well, if you look at $8 billion, like 70% of tax money goes to the military, and I'm not sure if the military would break up the whole fact. I'd see like a maybe 3 to 5% increase, which is a lot because if you're considering your taxes, I don't know taxes because I live in my mom's basement. That let's say this is your taxes and that goes up 5%. Oh shoot. You see, I have a degree in political science, not math.
Okay, well, it'd be
I'm
lots.
sorry. If 5%, you'd be looking at something like something around there. Which, when you think about it, for people who are in need, that is a lot. And the problem is that the basic problem is he does not have funding for the wall. The wall would not go down, and it's just something that he has to do to get political funding. It would cost an incredible amount of money, which money, if you know, the U.S. is like in $49 billion in debt. So he's going to have to pull $8 billion more down into debt just so he can build a barrier, which would, and this is the most reason that makes me sad. If you think about it, the area between Mexico, like let's say that this is U.S., this area has never really been touched by humankind. Now suddenly you got to bring in a giant excavator, that stuff, and that's pretty much just going to destroy this place. So pretty much what would be a desert, a really nice desert, would almost turn into what you see here. Like, it's filthy, there's flags everywhere, there's people all over. It's probably going to be trash everywhere.
What are some predicted bumps in the road, like any major ones?
Well, he's going to have to build the wall, and Congress is refusing to give him the funding for the wall. So now he's going, and he held the government hostage, but as you see, Congress held steadfast, although that was affecting many branches of the government, and they were eventually able to hold it off, so that way he didn't get the funding for the wall. But he could easily shut the government down again, just so that he could get it back. Like, if you think about it, the postal service is affected.
Okay. Well, will Trump's fence ever bring any, like, tourists? Tourists.
If I may interject, you earlier mentioned that the debt was, what, $50 billion?
No.
How much did you say the national debt was?
Like 50 billion, 49, 50 billion?
I'm pretty sure it's more like 27 trillion.
More than $20 trillion?
Oh, yeah.
More than
Oops.
$20 trillion in debt. So then you add another $8 billion, not going to help us.
Yeah,
But
and
back to the question.
I think that I don't think that the wall will become. I don't think that the wall will be standing like the Great Wall of China. I think it'll be more like remembered of the Berlin Wall as a bad time, and I think it'll be destroyed in this day and age. You're probably gonna use it for scrap metal because look at all the steel. There might be a site that says this is the Great Wall of China, but I don't think it's gonna be remembered as the Great Wall of China, more like the Berlin Wall, but just more closer to home.
Right. Well, will this wall bring any tourist attractions to it?
I mean, if you want that to be your income, like how it makes its worth, no, I don't think anybody's going to be going, oh, well, let's go see the Great Wall of China, the Great Trump Wall, kids. It was built in 2020 to keep out the Mexicans. No, I do not think that anybody's going to be going like that. I think that it'll be more like, it'll be seen more as like a dark time in history than a light time. But then again, people always see everything.
Yes. Will this affect, like, military or anything that we should be concerned about?
Then again, the military, about 70% of tax income goes to the military, which is a lot of money when you think about it. So probably it might affect the military because they might pull the funding from there. But they they do not need to build another missile, nor do they need another wall.
Yeah. So, does he think that, how does he think this wall would actually keep humans out of this?
I think it'll be more like I think he's trying to do border patrol, but he came up with the most simplistic way of doing it. I think that if you want to increase your border patrol, you should just put more checkpoints down there. But a physical wall is never going to stop it. Anybody, they can dig under it, they can just fly over it.
Do you think he's ever heard of a ladder?
No.
Probably not.
Yeah, so I think the wall is just a simple answer for him to say, we need to strengthen border patrol, but then he just thought, he just needed to strengthen border patrol. But then I think that when it came to that, the first thing that came to his mind was the Great Wall of China, the Berlin Wall, and he just thought, hey, something that rallies people are walls. So I think that this is something that he's looking back in history and that he is trying to use for his own, trying to use for pretty much something of border patrol. Overall, I give this wall a rating of 1 out of 5.
So, why 1 out of 5? Is there anything good about this wall?
No, although I may agree in some ways that he should probably keep a strong border, but then he shouldn't deport people. I think that in general, the wall will be bad because the funding is an icky situation. The reason that he's doing it is not for a good situation. Well, the reason he says he's doing it, but the reason is reality is just, as I said, just for him to get probably likeness for the next campaign. But at this point, he has no idea what he's doing.
Okay. So, will this hurt our environment?
This will hurt our environment a lot because, as I explained before, that's desert that's never been touched by the hands of mankind before. And suddenly you got to bring in these flatbed stuff. You got to bring in stuff like cranes. It's just going to destroy the environment of a nice place.
Will it keep Americans in?
Oh. Yes.
Okay.
This is not a wall to keep Mexicans out. I discovered this. He's trying to keep us in. I went over some papers I wasn't supposed to. And you know what it looks like? He's not trying to keep us in. But by the year 2021, he's going to build a wall to keep out Canada. And then, the guy's a nut job. I don't think he's right. No. It's not the wall. It's not trying to keep the Mexicans out. It's trying to keep Americans in. It's a trap. And people are falling for it. Anyway.
All right. So, that's all the time we have for now.
Okay.
Special thanks to the Portland Media Center and to my guests. I am incredulous. If you want to contribute to the show, call the center or contact us with the information shown in the credits. Peace out, nerds.
I don't like your T-Series. Nothing personal, kid. But I must go all out. Just this once. Bob's or Vagana, whichever will it be. Set down, T-Series, I'm here to spill the real tea. You tryna dethrone me from spot on number 1, but you India, you lose. So best think you haven't won. When I'm through with you, we're gonna be completely done. Cause we only just begun. I review you, 0 but gone. So come on, T-Series, looking hungry for some drama. Here, let me serve you lasagna. 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 T-Series ain't nothing but lasagna. 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 Look at T-Series, they just crying for their mama. Lasagna. Lasagna. T-Series ain't nothing but lasagna. 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 T-Series just whip himself in their pajamas. So who is Bob and why? Ew. I'm a blue-eyed white dragon while you're just dark magician. You got a fifth of the population in your nation, but I got 90 rolls of worlds to hold your defecation. Oops, multiple. Is that even supposed to mean?